One of the key pieces of anxiety in children is this whole idea that time is very hard for them to manage. So if we're going to talk about young children, but if we skip forward to say a boy who's in middle school and doesn't have great time management skills, and he's going through his day and he goes to history class and they're working on a Renaissance project, and they have 20 minutes to come up with a timeline for the Renaissance project. But 20 minutes goes by and he doesn't really get it done. And then he goes to math and they have a math lecture, and then he has half an hour to get the math homework done, but he gets one question done. Kids who we know these kids, they just struggle with how to use time, and time slips by and they don't really understand why they didn't get their task done. But what happens is by the time they get home, they have literally 2 hours of homework to do, plus they have to go to hockey practice, plus they have some family commitments. And what ends up happening is those kids feel a great deal of anxiety and stress, and they may be kids who really don't want to go to school and don't feel motivated about grades, and then we all wonder why. So what I'd like to do is take us all the way back to young children and the idea of time, that we use time words so much with young children, and yet we forget what a complicated concept it is. We say, we'll do that soon, or we can do that later, or we'll pick up your brother in 15 minutes, or you can have the iPad in half an hour. But really, a lot of these kids have no idea what that means, and it makes it very difficult for them. So there's this woman, Sarah Ward, who teaches about time and teaching time to kids to decrease their anxiety. And she has, I think, a quite brilliant approach in that she talks about the sweep of time. Since the advent of digital clocks, everything for us is numbers, and we're often looking at clocks that are just numbers. And we set timers, that beep and that count down without us being able to see them. But what she does is she talks about the importance of an analog clock and of children learning time by looking at the sweep of time. And the sweep of time is sort of being able to monitor how time goes by and how we experience time. And I've been using this in my own practice, clinical practice, for years, and I think whether it's young children or whether it's children in middle school, students in middle school, it is the single most powerful strategy that I've encountered in helping kids get organized and decrease their anxiety. We know that when kids go to university, the things that are great predictors of university success are not actually IQ or how well you read. They're actually how well you can manage your time and how well you can get the sleep you need. Those are the things that predict success and outcomes. So let's start when kids are young. And this is talking a little bit about how to do that. So let's say that we have a young man who's 4 years old, and his name is Wayne. And Wayne just has a lot of trouble waiting, and he doesn't understand time, and he acts out a lot. And so what we're going to try to do is try to explain time to Wayne. And Wayne does not know his numbers yet, so the numbers on here are irrelevant. But Wayne can certainly understand that there is a long black stick here that goes around, and we can call it an arm or whatever. There's a long black arm and it goes around, and it helps us see how our day is going. So right now it is 11:15-ish, and we're at the Starfish, and Wayne we have to go and pick up Wayne's brother at school. He doesn't like going to pick up his brother. He does not want to get in the car. But we're going to give him some warning and say, well, Wayne, you know what? When this stick gets to the Batman, I have a dry erase marker, and you can't see, but that sticker is a Batman. So every 5 minutes, there is a different sticker. Stickers that Wayne likes, because they're characters he likes. Batman, there's Thomas Tank Engine, there's a Minion and Hulk. So when this long hand gets to Batman, so we have this much time to go, When it gets to Batman, we're going to go and pick up your brother, Eric. So we're just going to draw Eric in there, and that's Eric, and we're going to go pick up Eric. But you know what? It doesn't actually take that long. What we're going to do is, by this time, by the time that the long hand gets to Flash over here, we're going to be home, and guess what? Then you can be on your iPad. So I'm going to draw your iPad in there. Now, Wayne doesn't really understand 10 minutes and 15 minutes, but Wayne has seen this clock enough to see that the hands move around. And even if he doesn't understand the concept of time, he's going to start to get it here. So he knows that he has this much time at home to hang out, and then when the arm gets to here, we're going to go pick up Eric. And then he also knows that here, and I'm not very good at drawing, so there's our car. So we're going to be in the car during this whole time. And then when he gets back here, when we get back home, this long arm is going to be at light. I think that's lightning. I'm not sure. When we get there, past Thomas Tank Engine, it's going to be time to be on the iPad. And that's the beginning of Wayne starting to understand time and starting to feel like his day is predictable. So had he not had this, all he gets is get in the car, we're going to get Eric, we'll be back in 15 minutes, and none of that really makes sense. So you start doing this with kids, and it's just an extremely powerful way to help them organize. And if you keep these clocks at eye level for kids, it is also very, very helpful because they'll be watching it even when you don't think so. And so now when Wayne is in middle school and he comes home and he has 2 hours of homework, first of all, we're going to figure out with this clock how to get his tasks done in that 2 hours. But we're also going to start figuring out, okay, well, half an hour is, say, from here all the way to here, and that's how much time you had for math. Let's figure out what happened in that time. Let's look at the sweep of time. Let's figure out what took time away from you, and let's figure out how we can make you more efficient. So right from when children are 2, 3 years old to the time that they are adults, looking at sweep of time is a really powerful way to ground them and ultimately decrease the anxiety they feel.